Money doesn't just come from one place. It drips, trickles, flows, and floods into our lives in different ways. Welcome to Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood, a podcast that explores the power of multiple income streams. We've got merch. That's right. Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood t-shirts are officially here, and they're as comfy as they are conversation starting. Grab yours at the link in our show notes. Hey, Tony, how you doing today?
Great. How are you, Melissa?
Doing pretty good. It's a little bit gloomy out. My birthday's tomorrow, though, so that's fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot you and Harper are so close.
That's right.
Yeah.
When is her birthday?
Monday.
Monday. Okay. All right. Well, happy birthday to her too.
Yeah. Well, I need the gloom. I am a little behind on my QuickBooks stuff. So
Oop.
okay, after we finish this episode and I eat a little bit of lunch, I need to get caught up because when the sun's out, I have a hard time staring at the computer screen.
I definitely feel the same. It is a good catch up time. All right. So today we just did an episode with hardware sales, and we talked a lot in that episode about customer service, which was like a cornerstone for them, especially as a local business competing with some big box stores. So we figured we'd talk a little bit more in this episode about customer service. So I think you had a really good experience recently, Tony, or somewhat
So I want
recently.
to talk about the good experience and I also had well, it was only a bad experience because myself, but so the good experience is I was buying a piece of property and the title company was just fantastic. Like they responded super quick. I actually when I emailed the realtor all the information, I told her Tony Moseri and Lindsay Zender. And so that's what all the paperwork got filled out as. And Lindsay was like, "This says Zender." I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, my last name's Moseri." And I go, "Oh yeah, good call." And so she had to email the title company and let them know that, she had in fact changed her name 15 years ago when we got married. Actually 16 years ago, I guess. And so anyways, but then I had another experience about this TV on Prime Day and still hasn't shown up. And so I was going to go, it's like sold through Best Buy or something. And so I call the local Best Buy to see if maybe I could go pick up the TV in there. And they would not, AI answers the phone, asks me the questions, will not give me a human, will not transfer me to anybody in Bellingham. I then get transferred to some person wherever. They won't transfer me to the person in Bellingham. And I'm just like, I was so frustrated. I'm like, all I want to do is talk to a person in my local store so I can know what my options are and if I can go in there and pick it up. And so, yeah, it just got me thinking about like, we talked about how not to get replaced by AI and all these things. Man, customer service could be the differentiator. And I always think it kind of has been, but I think now the separation between good customer service and bad customer service is just going to be enormous.
Yes. It's very true, especially when it's something extra stressful. So, I had an experience a while back where I was using a certain payroll company and didn't realize that they only had AI customer service. And so if you needed to talk to somebody, you actually had to pay, I think it was $250 to do an hour call with them. And my hands were tied. I had to do it because I needed to like tick a box for an issue because it was unfortunately set up inappropriately. So I couldn't get out of that. However, and then the poor person that I talked to, well, I paid them to talk to them, and they actually felt bad for me. And they're like, "Well, listen, you can call me whenever. Like, don't feel
That's
like,
cool.
so it was actually that person that was handling the customer service happened to be great. I since left them and went to a different company because of that. And that was the number one thing I asked is I'm not signing up unless I can actually get a representative on the phone. Like, is that possible? And they're like, "Yes, of course." And I'm like, "Oh, it's not of course." I'm sure there are other places that don't do this. So, um, I really think that that makes such a big difference. And the fact that we even have to like ask that today is very interesting to me. That before you sign up for a service, that you really need to qualify it and say, like, is it going to be possible for me to get a person on the phone?
Yeah, and I always have to remind myself when I finally get to that person that most likely was not their choice to set up this system that I had to,
Mhm.
go through all these steps. And AI is impressive, and I use AI and all the things, but if you don't answer the questions right, half the time it just hangs up on you. It goes, "Nope, sorry," click, and I just lose my mind, you know? And but where there's frustration, there's opportunity,
Mhm.
and I think being aware of, if you're an employee or whether you're a business owner or somewhere in between or whatever it is, I think if you're providing really, really good customer service, I mean, that's like next level stuff. And I feel like a lot of the people we've had on this show represent that, right? Bob talked about that with the grill cleaning and, you just having that level of customer service. You had to pay $250 to get to this level. If something's 10% more, but they know they're going to get great customer service, people are probably going to choose that route.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting too because I often, if I'm working with people, I don't do it as much anymore, but when I was working with people doing marketing or publicity, um, there was like this piece of the sales funnel that often folks would miss is that like we may be driving you the leads, right? But then if the customer service after that's happening is poor, then they're not going to buy. So you can't actually say that the lead was bad, right? You have to look at your systems after that. And oftentimes we would catch something in the process that was like very poor customer service. And that could have been someone the person that was responding to the inquiries wasn't doing a good job. It could have been that they were using all of these automated tools, which in some ways can be great, but often break down or someone asks a question like you said and it's not understanding so it's rerouting them, hanging up on them, it's dumping them out of a chat if they're in a support chat. So there's all sorts of things like that that I think we often need to pay a lot more close attention to as business owners, making sure that we're allowing people to have some way to contact a real human if they need to. And I think it's okay to have those other mechanisms in place where it's like frequently asked questions or something. Sure, of course, right? It might be something very basic. I love when I have a basic question, I can just find the answer on Google. Great. Like that's awesome. Now I don't have to call anybody. But there are certainly opportunities that we do need to talk to a human, and that should always be available. And I think the more opportunities we have to do that, the better.
Yeah, and I mean, with Moseri Construction, my whole thing was when somebody called inquiring about a project, even if I was calling to say, "Sorry, we're too busy," I
Mhm,
always got back to them, you know, ideally within 24 hours.
mhm.
And I can't tell you how positive people responded to me, even if I was calling to tell them I'm too busy, just to say thank you that I had responded to them. And then, Lindsay's business with the print house design doing screen printing, she is all about that. It's just all about the customer service. And it's really like, what can you do to make that person's experience positive? How can you do the things they're coming to you because they need help with something? They don't have the skill for something, they don't have the time for something. So they're coming to you. And if you can just execute and efficiently, I mean, it really, you can separate yourself, even if you're just getting started with something. If you're selling, um, pictures at the farmer's market,
Mhm.
or you're starting a sourdough bread company, right? Whatever it is, like if you just do that next level little bit to make that person's experience super positive. I've actually been surprised lately at how slow people have been to just reply to me on email. Now,
Yeah.
maybe it's me, but like to the point where I'm like checking to like make sure it actually sent and then like checking my spam folder to see why the person hasn't replied. And then sometimes they'll respond weeks later very positively. But I'm
Mhm.
just like, even just like a, hey, so I saw this. I'll get back to you later. I'm busy. I'm whatever. I just think that that level of connection is so important, and the customer service is becoming just more and more a differentiator. Did I say that word right? Differentiator?
Yeah.
Differentiator. I think I left an R out.
Close enough. Yes, that's a good point too. I think about the response rate for even for opportunities. So businesses are losing customers because they're not responding fast enough, for sure. Also, if you are a solo business owner, or solopreneur, whatever you want to call it, you might be losing opportunities if you're not responding fast enough. So I was actually just on a call the other day with a brand client of mine, and they had sent out this message, and it was like a really cool opportunity. I didn't realize that I wasn't the only one they were sending it to. Doesn't really matter. As soon as I saw the message, I just responded right away, no more than like 2 sentences. I just said, "This sounds really great. I'd love to ask you a few questions just to clarify a few things before I say yes. Do you mind if we get on a call?" And then that's what we did this morning. Well, it turns out that it was basically sent out to like a handful of creators, but I was the one that responded the first, and they were most interested in like moving forward. So they were doing it in sort of a tiered thing. So now I was able to land that. Um, I mean, that happens a lot. It's like if you don't get back to people because these are very timely, they need the projects done, you're not going to get it. They're going to move on to the next person, right? So if I didn't, let's say I took 24 hours to respond, well, at that point, they would have said, "Oh, we already had our creator say yes." But because, I responded, "Yes, yes, I'm interested, just need to clarify." And again, I didn't even need to say a full yes. It was just the point that I was like, "Yes, very interested. Would love to. Just have to ask a couple questions." And
Right.
that was enough.
Yeah, and you're giving well, one, you're making their job easier,
Mhm.
right? Because you've responded. They aren't waiting, trying to solve this thing. Um, they probably like that you are excited about it. And then you probably beyond that give them good customer service in delivering what you're supposed to deliver on time, all those things. I think that's a lot of the writing that I have and these relationships that I built. I can't say that I'm the world's best writer. I can't say that I'm the world's best photographer, but for 6 years straight now, I've been getting published in all these different publications. And I think a lot of it is that I pitch regularly. If I don't pitch, I tell them why I'm not pitching and
Mhm.
tell them I'm still interested in the future, but not fitting in my window right now. Or if they ask me to do an article, I will reply immediately, whether I'm accepting or turning it down. And then I try to always get my stuff in ahead of the deadline because
Mhm.
they have their steps to do after the process, right? They've got to edit, they got to format, they have to do all the things. They may have to come back to me on things. And so, um, I think the customer service goes in both directions. And now what we're talking about is just having a really good working relationship with people.
Mhm. And the deadline thing is real. So I know we have a lot of creatives who listen to this podcast. I just had a conversation literally before we started talking today with a producer of mine who was calling me about a project he wanted to see if I was interested in. And he was mentioning, like, talking about something else. And he said, he said, "I like when I work with you because you always get everything in on deadline." And he said, "I have other writers who are like definitely talented. I love them." He's like, "But I can't rely on them." And then it pushes the whole, we're talking about like a multi-million dollar production, all that gets pushed back, which means money, right? Because then you're like expending funding when things get pushed back. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, to me, that seems basic to like get things in by deadline, but I actually agree with you that I think that's not as a constant because I've heard it enough times to know that like it's not happening. So entering into a career, which I know a lot of our listeners want to be in the creative field, where there is a lot of competition like no other, that should be a given that you're getting your stuff in on deadline. But I think it's like what Tony said is even better. I don't always do that, but I try is like if I can get it in even a little early, a little before, or sometimes I'll even prep it before so that I even give myself a buffer that like if I think of a better idea. And again, I'm still giving myself like 48 hours to turn that around if that's the case. So it's a good habit to get into to like always be on time and be reliable.
Yeah, well, I have a article deadline of the 20th of July here, and, it's for Dave Pillinger, who has Southside Living. He was
Hmm.
on, man, about a year ago, I think, and he, so he gives me the deadline. He's great about giving me big lead time, and it's a profile piece on this couple, and their story is great, and they were so much fun, and they told me a story that I wasn't totally sure how if they actually wanted in the piece or not, and although it's a great story. And so I put it in there, but I made sure to get them the piece early to take a look at because I thought there was about a 50% chance that they would want me to revise it. Which they did, which I have done. Was back in their hands. And again, it's a great story, just maybe a little more personal or whatever than they wanted. But not negative, but just yeah. So it was but just giving it and so many people are just like 90 percenters, right? Where they do 90% of the work and then that 10% they just can't get over the hump. And man, the value of just doing that 10%, getting it, you know, getting that deliverable out on time and being that type of person, that type of business that is giving that service. I just, I mean, honestly, I still haven't gotten that TV from Amazon. I'll probably cancel it at this point and,
Yeah.
you
Maybe
know,
just start all over. I mean,
maybe
I'm
just
just,
start all over. I mean, honestly, what I
I,
probably don't need is another TV, but, um, so
yeah. At that point, it's like, well, it's not even worth it. It's not worth it. Just order a different one.
so you do a lot of different things. How do you like how do you view people or not view necessarily, but how do you interact with the different people in your world, right? Where you have people that are giving you deadlines, you have
Mhm.
people that you're doing consulting with, you have all these different things. How do you balance that and how do you differentiate how you interact with those people?
Mm. I mean, as far as like balancing, I don't know. I probably don't have a great answer for that. I think I just have different spreadsheets for different things with deadlines on them, and I tick a box. So it's not. I mean, nothing fancy. That just is what works for me, so that I can stay on top of everything. But interacting with people, I think I probably interact with everyone the same. I'm definitely always friendly and approachable. I think at least and warm. Like at least that's what people will say generally about about me. So I want to make sure that I don't show up and act rude or whatever, which none of us should be doing that. But you never know. I've encountered people like that myself. So I just try to be friendly, approachable. But I'd say like what's more important than that is I'm very direct. So I like things to be like clear and concise. And I think that just moves projects along. And ultimately everybody is happy with that. So and I will also have like very strong boundaries around things. So an example is like I'm not afraid if I'm in a development call on a script to like stop the call and just say, hey, like this is going on a little long. I don't think we're going to find a resolution on the call today. What I propose is that, on this particular plot element, let's say if that's the issue, I'm going to take a beat for 24 hours and think through that. I'll come back with 3 ideas. I'll email them to the team. You all can vote and tell me what you think. And like, I think everybody appreciates that because when I was new to this world, I used to sit in these meetings for sometimes 3, 4 hours where everyone's arguing and shouting over each other. It was just so toxic. So I don't like any of my communication to be like that. And if I see it going that way, because it's not always me, it's not just me and one other person, it's usually me and a group of people. I will try to stop it and then say, like, here's a solution. So I think just being like direct, clear, trying to be solution oriented as much as possible. There just isn't a reason to talk something into the ground. Like, let's just move forward as like, what's our path forwards? That's, I think, generally how I like to communicate. And I consider that customer client service because at the end of the day, I'm giving them all time back and less frustration.
I'm looking up the author right now. Have you read the book Death by Meeting?
No, I feel like I could write that.
I mean, we're getting a little off, we're getting a little off topic here, but what you just said kind of made me remind. It's by Patrick Lencioni,
Okay.
and it's a good book. I think I listened to the audio book. But it's all about that. Just yeah, don't beat these things to death. Don't spend your whole life in these meetings. You know, what are you supposed to be doing? Have a quick 5-minute meeting, let everybody go do their things, and then you can come back or whatever. And so,
Mhm.
um, yeah, so will you choose businesses that you're working with, not professionally, that you will be a customer of, or yeah, based off of their customer service, or will you exclude anybody because of it?
Yeah, I mean, yes, definitely. I like it. I would say, like, as far as me being a consumer, depending on what the business is, of course, I do like an experience. So, and it could be the most basic experience. Like, I if I go somewhere and like they have, let's say like little chocolates, I think of course that's glitter free. Like, all over that is really basic. Or more than chocolate, if you have coffee, I'm one. I will come to you forever. So like if I can come to you and you're gonna give me free coffee, I'm like, yes, this was all I need in the world. And I sometimes it's just those very little tiny, teeny things. There used to be this gym I went to in LA. It was like what wasn't like a full gym, it was like just a fitness class place. You take classes. And but there was lots of them. Like, I mean, even in my neighborhood, there was probably 15 of them. So you could go like anywhere you wanted. But this one place they put hot tea out. Like it was like a different flavor tea every time and little cool towels that had like, eucalyptus or something or lavender on them. And it was like they would do that after every class. And so anytime you went, you would get your towel and your tea. And I just went there because like, I don't want to go to any of these other places because they have it. Even if like the instructors were better, you have towels and tea.
That's hilarious. I used to make my dad take me to Sash and Door when I was a kid. It was the hardware store because they had popcorn. They had one of those popcorn machines, and so you could
Mm.
go in and get popcorn. And so I mean, that's all I wanted. If I was going to work with my dad, all I want to do is, go get popcorn, and then maybe we'd go to a job site. Then I was probably ready to, go get a burger or something. My dad used to take me to Skippers. But so, and then the other thing I like is when hotels in the lobbies have those jugs of water with the fruit in them.
Yeah,
So
like
they
the
got like
spa
the
water.
cucumber, and
Uh-huh.
every time we go to those, I'm like, Lindsay, we should have this in our house.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have never once,
Oh, really?
chopped up the stuff and done it. But yeah, It's
You
so
should
good.
definitely do that. We do that. I'm a little lazy about it, but I try to do it. Like I'll just get like mint from our garden and put it in like a mason jar with water and like, or like you said, cucumber, strawberry. It makes such a big difference, but it's kind of silly, right? It's not like the biggest
Yeah.
thing in the world.
I
Listen, I don't drive anything but Subarus. This isn't really the only reason, but guess what Subaru has at their dealership? At every Subaru dealership
I guess coffee.
and popcorn.
Oh,
Yeah.
um, I don't know if I've ever been in a Subaru dealership.
Well,
No,
now you gotta get a Subaru.
yeah. Well, then I will say that the local Toyota dealership, their waiting area is pretty nice too. But
It is nice. I've been over there. Yes,
so,
they're all pretty good.
and I do, so, I mean, I guess, we started this conversation around customer service, and I feel like what this has turned into more broadly is just like the overall experience, right? And obviously
Mhm.
the customer service is a giant part of that, but also just what is that experience of, you know, it's almost like that first class kind of experience, right? Like
Yeah.
make everybody feel when they come to you, whether you're an employee, it's your business, whatever it is, that you're giving them that first class experience. And I think people will return. Um,
Yeah.
Especially in the world that we're in where there are so many people that they frankly aren't good at it, right? They don't like to talk to people, they aren't communicative. They don't wanna provide that level of service. Maybe they're not happy where they're working or whatever the reason is. And that's the good option, right? The bad option is you can only talk to a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think giving those people that level of experience, we have an Airbnb here and it's on the river and it's called Kings River Cabin. And these people have been back. I can't remember if this is their second or third year, but they've been back and they stay for a long time. It's become their summer vacation. And Lindsay, I go downstairs, I'm like, what is that? And she made these Kings River Cabin shirts with the front of the house. And
Oh,
I'm gonna drop them off for them. They're leaving soon. And I mean to kind of share how that relationship has gone, they brought their sourdough starter with them because they knew we were gonna be here for so long. She made this cheddar jalapeno sourdough bread.
wow.
It was insane. I mean, I'll probably give her a discount if she brings me some more of that back.
It's
But anyway, but like, so now Lindsay's giving her this shirt, but the shirt is the icing on the cake, right? Cake, right? The experience was already kind of wrapped into it, and then these people return, and then now it has turned into this relationship. They've already booked for next year,
oh my
and
gosh.
and so I don't know. I think it's really important right now, and I think it can be the differentiator even more so than it ever has been in the past. As
Mm.
hedge funds buy up businesses, as AI becomes more and more a part of the world, having that interaction, giving that experience. And some people may not even know that they want it. You don't have to be pushy. Some people do want their space, but just give them what they want.
Mhm.
Become an expert in reading what that is. And I think people will come back and support your business.
Totally agree with everything you said. Also, yes, Lindsay is a master at the customer service, which if we go, we'll have to tag back to her episode when she was on because I feel like she talked a lot about that too with her screen printing business
Well, and
and
so is
how,
Gary with his coaching. I
yeah.
mean, I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that teach pickleball classes. Is Gary super knowledgeable about pickleball?
Yes.
Absolutely. Frankly, his knowledge though, like is his knowledge, are all of his people really able to execute what his knowledge actually has? I don't think so, right? Because you have to have a certain level of athleticism and all these different pieces, right? So his knowledge is one thing, but really what they're coming is because they want to hang out with Gary. Like,
Yeah,
the
totally.
pickleball court is the spot where they get to hang out with Gary. If
Mhm.
Gary was doing something else, the people might go do that. Maybe, guys just switch to bowling. Probably be really good for the local bowling alleys because people would want to go hang out with Gary at the bowling alley. So
It's true.
yeah,
And he right now is making sourdough bread for all of his
Yeah. I mean, it matters. They're gonna go tell
Mhm.
everybody about that, and now everybody's gonna wanna go get a pickleball lesson with Gary because of his sourdough
Totally.
bread.
Yeah, and he did it when he had his dog business too, not the bread, but he got really good at photography at the time, and he would take these beautiful photos of all the dogs as he was
Mhm.
walking them or watching them, and he would give all his clients these, like, gorgeous shots, and not only were they getting, like, gorgeous photos of their dogs all the time, but then, he made them a calendar, like, for the holidays with their cutie little dog on it.
Our thing at Moseri Construction was wine, and it started off there was actually my dad's cousin or something made he had a winery down in California, and so we actually had Moseri wine. He stopped doing that business, and then, we ended up having just a local winery make label it for us. So we had the wine, and then, since it was Moseri Construction, we always had M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, and regular M&Ms.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I guess it started as regular, and they were in a wine bottle, and then, we got requests for peanut M&Ms, so we started having those too, and, previous customers would come in just to get M&Ms. People would come and pay their bills in person just so they could get M&Ms. Subs would swing by, and again, just those little things, it just keeps you front of mind, which is
Yeah.
often the most important thing, right? Whatever your widget is, when someone needs that widget or that service or whatever, you want them to think of you. And there's a connection to eating, probably better chance that, they're going to think of you or whatever.
Listen,
Or,
food is the way to my heart. I know. Yeah, I love that. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. We'd love to hear all of your thoughts too. If there is something that you're doing for customer service that is working really well, or something that you enjoy receiving as a customer, we'd love to hear that too. If you like this episode, please rate and review on your favorite podcast platform. That helps us reach more people with topics like these. And we'll see you next time on Drip Trickle Flow Flood. Thanks, everybody.